Today we'll be talking on a very interesting topic, that is blockchain, cryptocurrency, and Bitcoin. These words are actually gaining a lot of traction these days because we all are like, oh my god, the Bitcoin has risen so much, or else the stock prices are coming down and all that stuff. But what exactly is a Bitcoin? What is blockchain? What is cryptocurrency? Is something that needs to be answered in a defined manner. And with that idea of solving the common queries, with solving the misconceptions about this term Bitcoin, I thought of framing this session. And mind me, if you have any questions, if you have any doubts, you can get in touch with me. We can have a discussion on this. We can also discuss the technology that actually enables Bitcoins and cryptocurrency to function so well, how it is secure, how it is protected, all that stuff. So stay tuned for understanding everything in detail. Before we move ahead, I'll just give you a quick glimpse in 30 seconds what all I do. So that was quickly in 30 seconds what all I have done till now and what I'm trying to do ahead. So there's a disclaimer. This is a fundamental learning session. The idea is to clarify common misconceptions about blockchain, cryptocurrency, and Bitcoins simply with relevant examples and concepts. So please make sure you pay complete attention to this session. It won't be too lengthy, but yes, whatever content I'm going to cover today will actually walk you through the fundamentals of blockchain, cryptocurrency, and Bitcoins. So let's start understanding it together. Now, economics is a necessity. We all are taught like there is a subject named economics, which is very boring, but no, actually, economics is a necessity. It is like a primary necessity now because that plays a crucial role in everyone's life. We all need money. We all are running behind money. We all are chasing money in some or the other manner. We are trying to get that luxurious, comfortable life by means of earning a lot and lot of money. But what if this money actually turns out to be digital? That's what we're going to answer today. So what the internet did for information, digital currency is doing for money. So money is the ultimate catalyst for worst and best of humans. Of course, we have witnessed that during these pandemic times also. And sometimes it defines moral status, and sometimes it also helps us, or it also compromises our morals. So money is like the ultimate catalyst. It plays a key important role in each one of our lives. And what happens if this money gets transformed into digital binaries that would specify ones and zeros? And when such kind of stuff happens, when the physical form of money gets converted into digital form, that is binary form, then it is known as cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is using blockchain technology. So now blockchain is a technology that is used by cryptocurrencies, and Bitcoin is one form of cryptocurrency. So Bitcoin is not blockchain. In short, if I have to sum it up, Bitcoin is not blockchain. Bitcoin is a kind of cryptocurrency, and blockchain is the technology that enables to use cryptocurrencies, for example Bitcoins and all that stuff. So Bitcoin is like used for transactions across the globe. It is considered to be the king of cryptocurrencies as of now, and its price goes high and low. We all have witnessed that in the regular news and all that stuff. But coming to the main point, what is cryptocurrency actually doing? It is eliminating banking. For example, if I have to pay $100 to someone, what do? I go to some online transaction application, for example GPay. I click on whatever I select the QR code, or for example I type in the number to whom I have to pay, and then I enter in the details. I enter in the amount, 100 rupees for example, and I click on pay now. So as soon as I click on pay now, it goes to a bank platform where actually I have to enter in my password. Then it validates whether I have 100 rupees in my account, and then only it gives out the money to the person in front. Now, if this is done on a debit side, this is how it works. But if it is done on a credit side, then again, there's a similar kind of a middleman, like a bank or some financial institution that plays the role of handling the transaction between the two parties. So here we see there are three constraints: myself, the person in front of me, and there's a middleman, that's a bank. But cryptocurrency is trying to eliminate banking. So via blockchain, I can directly send money to the person ahead without having any intermediary, without having anyone in between, without having any man in the middle. So that is what cryptocurrency is actually doing, and this is because of this, the costs. Like for example, if I'm sending money from Mumbai to some other country, for example, the US. So what is it doing? The man in the middle, or the company in the middle, the bank in the middle, is actually transferring the money, but is cutting some kind of fee in between. That is called as the processing fee. And also there are conversion rates that come into picture when we talk about international transactions. So if in India, when I made the payment, the price for dollar was 75 rupees. $1 equals to 75 rupees. But when the payment was reached to some other country, it probably took 2 days. So at that point, if the amount rate was low, for example, the conversion rate was low, then the person in front would receive less money. Or else, if the conversion rate was high, the person in front would receive more money. So this is how conversion rates also change across boundaries, and cryptocurrency is actually allowing to overcome such hurdles. It is allowing people to transfer money as much as we want to transfer, and that too without much of the fees to be paid to someone else, like the third party that gets involved while transferring money. So it is a decentralized system. There is no centralized system in terms of blockchain. And cryptocurrency is used. Cryptocurrency, there are various coins like Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc., which we will be exploring ahead, which are used to carry out cryptic transactions. And the word crypto itself says it is encrypted, it is secure, it is robust, it cannot be easily cracked, it has complex algorithms that are being followed in order to maintain privacy and security. So before moving on, I just want to make it clear to all of you, kindly make sure that you are financially aware and economically literate before taking any decisions or investing your hard-earned money anywhere. Many times we fall prey to scams, like online schemes and chains and all that stuff. So it's a humble request. Whatever we're going to discuss ahead is for educational purpose. You can learn ahead, but before taking any kind of crucial decision, whether I should invest somewhere or not, make sure you are financially literate and economically aware that yes, what you are exactly doing will give you some good thing in return, because you are earning money through putting in a lot of effort, and if you lose money, it does not make sense. So make sure you're financially literate. Now, blockchain is a technology that enables digital coins or assets to move from one point to other. Okay, so blockchain is a distributed, decentralized public ledger. So you see this diagram actually shows how transactions are made. You do not need any physical systems in place. Everything is digital here. And if you see different institutions come into picture, there is no centralized system, as I mentioned. So each one is connected to each other depending upon the kind of relationship they share. And there is like a unison of all the transactions that is happening. So if I pay 100 rupees to someone, everyone else in my chain will also be notified that yes, I have paid 100 rupees. And as it is known as public ledger, so in a ledger, once an entry is made, it cannot be modified, it cannot be changed. So once I pay, it cannot be reversed. So blockchain follows a principle of irreversibility, where once you make a transaction, it cannot be reversed at any point of time. And also, if some hacker or some unwanted snooper tries to modify the records, then it will automatically mark the transaction that invalid, because everyone will have a copy of the same transaction. So for example, if this guy makes a payment of 100 rupees to this guy, and everyone has a receipt, that everyone has a notation in the ledger that yes, A has paid 100 rupees to B, and somewhere if a hacker tries to snoop in and make the figure only 10 rupees, so the rest of the people would automatically invalidate that particular transaction, and then the transaction will be debarred. So this is how public ledger actually helps in keeping the transaction on a note. There is no discrepancy, or there is no problem that actually comes into picture when we talk about decentralized systems like blockchain. Now, how does actually blockchain work? For example, someone registers a transaction. Transaction is represented as a block in the shared ledger. So ledger is, you can consider it like a manual, a file where every transaction is noted down in terms of blocks, and block is broadcasted to all participants. So if 5 people are involved in a transaction, all 5 will be notified of that particular block. Participants approve the transaction, that yes, it is valid, go ahead. Then the block would be carrying out its function. Block is added to the chain, and the single picture of the chain is available to authorized participants. So in order to be a part of blockchain, you need to have that kind of network. Like for example, investors, or probably if you are transacting on some community basis, so some such kind of communities actually work in terms of transacting blockchain transactions. So that's about it. And as I already talked it out to you, so a transaction is requested and authenticated, a block is created. So everything is, the name itself says blockchain. So different blocks are chained together, And once a block is chained, it cannot be modified. And if anyone tries to modify it, then it will be notified to all other participants of that particular chain. So this is how the whole process works. So there are different concepts that come into picture here when we talk about blockchain. That is digital signature, private public keys, proof of work, proof of stake, hash function. We'll be understanding it ahead. Don't worry. So basically, if you wanna just sum it up, it is like there will be a chain of blocks that is being followed in order to make financial transactions digitally. That's about blockchain. Now moving on to the second concept, cryptocurrency. A cryptocurrency is a collection of binary data designed to work as a medium of exchange. So as I mentioned, now cryptocurrency is a currency. Of course, the name itself says currency, but it is an encrypted currency which is used to carry out digital transactions. Now, binary data, whenever we talk about binary, it's ones and zeros. So it is digitally used to exchange money. It is used to exchange currencies, and it is a digital and not typically issued by any central authority. As I mentioned, there is no centralization here. Here it is decentralization in terms of blockchain. So there are n number of cryptocurrencies which are available, and as we'll move ahead, we'll get to see some popular ones. And you see, like, the transaction is so easy, just like sending an email. So you just need to get a particular credentials for that particular person whom you are trying to send it, and it becomes easier. But here in this case, once it is sent, it cannot be reversed back. Once it is gone completely. So here are some wonderful facts about Bitcoins and cryptocurrencies. So the price of Bitcoin rose by 2000% in 2017. So San Francisco is among the major cities that have adopted cryptocurrency. And there are approximately 2,900 different cryptocurrencies available at this point. So Bitcoin is just one amongst those. The global blockchain market size is expected to reach $57 million by 2025. And the first Bitcoin purchase was made for 2 pizzas in 2010. So you see, the Bitcoin previously was used for a very nominal task, for a very simple task. But now a Bitcoin is like very costly. And as I mentioned, apart from Bitcoin, there are other cryptocurrencies which are very popular in the market. The other one that is a very strong competitor to Bitcoin is Ethereum. Then again, Bitcoin Cash, Ripple, Litecoin, Ardor, Monero, Ethereum Classic, Neo, and many others are like playing the game. And these all are like also used for carrying out cryptocurrency and transactions. Moving on. So this is the symbol for Bitcoin, the original one. And Bitcoin is money that is digital. Bitcoins are digital coins that you can send through the internet, and Bitcoin is not blockchain. So Bitcoin is money. In short, Bitcoin is just a form of money that is actually digital, and these are the coins that can be sent by internet. So these images are actually self-explanatory how the Bitcoin part works, and Bitcoin can easily be transferred to any person, any individual, any entity across boundaries. So there is no restriction as such. The only thing that is necessary that both of entities should have the Bitcoin, like cryptocurrency transaction platform, anything, whichever they want to follow. Now, what are the benefits of blockchain? Now, we will be talking it on all the perspectives, right, from blockchain, then to cryptocurrency, and then to the Bitcoin part. So let's understand it on a broader perspective. Mostly the functions and mostly the benefits and disadvantages would sound similar because everything is related here in terms of blockchain. But we need to understand them from everyone's perspective, every point's perspective. So let's jump into it. So benefits of blockchain. Blockchain is transparent. How is it transparent? Now, as I am able to see whatever transaction is being taking place in my chain, so it is transparent because I have a copy of whatever transaction is happening. If I am making it, I have a copy. If someone else is making it in my chain, still I have a copy of the transaction. So it is transparent, easily understandable. No one can modify it. If someone tries to modify it, I will quickly get a notification that yes, there is some kind of intervention that's being happening. So transparency is one thing. Secondly, reduce transaction costs. Now, as I mentioned, in between there were middlemen like banks and financial institutions who used to charge some kind of processing fee in order to transfer your funds from one point to other. But now, as blockchain comes into picture, it has actually reduced a lot of transaction costs because it plays like a decentralized intermediary that benefits in transferring funds, that benefits in carrying out transactions effectively. Next is faster transaction settlements, decentralization, and user controlled network. Now, as I mentioned again, the network needs to be defined, like how many people are involved in the chain, how many entities are involved in the chain, and there is no central authority. There is decentralization, of course. So everyone knows what transactions are being carried out in that particular network, and the transaction is of course faster. Then next is efficiency, auditability, and traceability. Now, efficiency is like it is saving a lot of time and giving me good output, good kind of result. Then secondly, auditability, like I can anytime carry a transact, I can anytime understand, I can map out what all transactions have taken place and what measures should I take in order to safeguard my funds or probably sell my coins. So depending upon the kind of result that I have, I will be taking the decisions accordingly. And traceability, I can easily trace out where is my transaction, like where is my money actually lying. So digital currency, I would say, where is my cryptocurrency actually lying. So that is how traceability is also possible. Next is security. Now, as I mentioned, crypto word itself means security, privacy, safety. So secure, it is very secure. It follows a lot of complex algorithms that come into picture when we talk about blockchain. And blockchain also has a lot of unique benefits, I would mention, actually, because it allows you to overcome the physical wallets and overcome the print money. Instead, you would be allowed to use everything digital. So that is about security. Worldwide adoption, of course, because there are different geographies, different countries, different restrictions, different taxes that are levied across the globe, but still it is adopted worldwide because there is no central authority. So if I am sending 75 rupees from here, the person there would receive $1 completely in the US, for example. So there is no cut or probably processing fee that comes into picture because it is adopted worldwide, and it is very good if I just transfer one Bitcoin from here and the person there would receive one Bitcoin instead of going for any third party intervention like banking transactions. Then automated operations, of course, automation is possible. Automation has actually excelled in terms of blockchain, and all notifications, all validations, all that stuff is possible because of blockchain. It is open, of course. It is an open ledger, as I clearly mentioned. It is a public ledger. So ledger, as we all know, is like an open book. So it is easily understandable, accessible, and widely understandable. Then distributed architecture, as I mentioned, there is no central authority that comes into picture here. So it has a distributed kind of architecture. It is flexible. So that's all about benefits of blockchain. Now, disadvantages of blockchain. Of course, every technology, everything has a flip side. So, what are the disadvantages of blockchain? Slower process. Of course, blockchain can slow down if there are too many users in a network, because everybody needs to be notified. Everybody needs to be needs to validate that particular transaction. So, it is compared like it is understood to be as a slower process at point, and high energy consumption. Of course, some solutions might consume too much of energy. So high energy consumption is another concern. Then inefficient. Of course, blockchains are sometimes inefficient due to the type they operate, because sometimes there can be lags in network or probably some of the other issues that might pertain and make it inefficient. Then high cost. Of course, implementing blockchain would require good amount of money, because it is not that feasible for everyone to implement blockchain from the very start. So yes, it is again costly. Next is interoperability. Blockchain does not offer interoperability as of now. Like it is operable only in some restricted constraints. Then harder to scale. Blockchains are harder to scale due to its consensus method. So there are different methods which are actually involved in blockchain, and one amongst these is consensus method. So there are strict protocols to be followed in blockchain, and it makes it sometimes difficult to scale it ahead. Then data is immutable. Blockchain cannot go back. Of course, the transactions cannot be reversed, and once the entry is made, it is there for lifetime. So that is immutable. Then self-maintenance. Users have to maintain their own wallets, or else they can lose access. So in case you forgot password or you tend to miss your device, like the device from which you're making the digital transactions, then you might be at risk. So self-maintenance is also a concern that comes in the disadvantages for blockchain. And still not mature, of course, because awareness is less in terms of understanding blockchain, and there is a lot more to explore in terms of the blockchain technology ahead. So maturity will come with time, of course. And integration, it is hard to integrate into legacy systems. Now, legacy systems are the ones which are being followed, which are being used since so many years, and sudden intervention of such kind of a new system, which is decentralized in terms of actions. So that is still like a big question, how to fill the gap in between. So I hope the advantages, that is transparency, reduced transaction cost, faster transaction settlements, decentralization, user controlled network, efficiency, auditability, traceability, security, worldwide adoption, automated operations, open distributed architecture, and flexibility are clear as benefits of blockchain. while a slower process, high energy consumption, inefficient, high cost, interoperability, integrations, less maturity, self-maintenance, data immutability, and harder to scale are some disadvantages of blockchain. Now let's come to the next part. As we already studied blockchain, now let's go to the next part, that is cryptocurrency. So there are again both advantages and disadvantages of cryptocurrency. So advantages are again like high potential returns. Of course, if the rate at which you purchased and the rate at which you're going to sell it, if the selling rate is high, then of course you would be gaining high potential returns. Then second is diversification. There are n number of cryptocurrencies which are available. We already saw 2,900 plus currencies which are available right now in the international market. Then limited supply of individual cryptos. Again, here inflation can be overcome because there will be protection against currency, and even if there is demonetization kind of stuff that comes into picture, still you will be safeguarded from the currency problems. And growing acceptance and usage. Yes, so that is again one addition to the cryptocurrency advantages. Or disadvantages. So disadvantages would comprise of high volatility, large potential losses. So no cryptocurrencies are seen. So if Ethereum has some value and Bitcoin has some other value, so yes, there can be chances of huge losses depending upon the kind of transactions you're making. Then positive correlation with equities, and good. Not all cryptocurrencies are same. Again, the same point. Then unlimited supply of cryptocurrencies is general. So as it is digital, there is a humongous supply, but the one who is actually playing it on the other end, like the one who is the potential buyer or customer or seller, needs to make sure that it is in a regulated manner, or else it can lead to bankruptcy. Then poor store of value due to volatility and restricted usage. So some countries have strict norms against bitcoins and all. So it again becomes a challenge for like a Bitcoin to survive there, to cryptocurrencies to survive there, because some countries are still not sure that whether they will be able to handle such kind of heavy transactions, which are very volatile and which are very flexible in terms of rates and conversion patterns. So again, that is one challenge. And unregulated and exposed to unscrupulous behavior. So again, this is, as I mentioned, just like stocks, it is unpredictable. Some countries have even termed it as gambling. So it is a challenge to like still change the perception of people, whether it is good or whether it is bad. So that is about pros and cons of cryptocurrency. And lastly, our favorite topic, Bitcoin. So what are the advantages and disadvantages? Again, similar words. Advantages of Bitcoin: it's transparent, it gives accessibility, it follows a decentralized structure. Of course, there is low risk of losing it, being a physical form of money. And yes, of course, it is speedy. Disadvantages. The disadvantages can be legal risks. Some countries, as I mentioned, have strict norms against bitcoins, that you cannot transact in bitcoins or any cryptocurrencies because there are some restrictions that are levied by the government. Then volatility. Yes, if today the Bitcoin price is very high, tomorrow if it suddenly falls down, then you might be the one who will lose it, and vice versa. Then possible funding of illegal activities. This is also possible because there is no central authority, so we do not know what is the source and what is the destination for that particular coin, where it is moving exactly. Then losing keys. If someone loses a key, that is the encrypted key, then it might be a challenge to access the money. And then at that point, then it would be a really tedious task to like recover the amount that you have actually invested or that you are playing with. And irreversibility, that is a major concern actually, because once you make a transaction, it cannot be modified, it cannot be changed. It is done, it is finally noted in the ledger, and then yes, it is for the lifetime. So these are advantages and disadvantages of a Bitcoin. Now, I know this was very technical, and that is the reason I have tried to keep the session diluted, but to the point. And now, in order to make all concepts, whichever we discussed till now, clear, we have a very short, informative video, which I have found it on the open source, and probably we could refer to it and get better understanding of the topic, that is blockchain, cryptocurrency, and Bitcoins. So here's the video for all of us.
Ever wonder if there's an easier way to complete transactions without having to deal with online wallets, banks, and third-party applications? Well, it's possible thanks to blockchain. Here's everything you need to know about blockchain. Imagine 4 friends, Jack, Ted, Sam, and Phil, meet up for dinner. After they're done, Jack pays the bill, and all of them decide to split the expense amongst each other. Now, on the next day, when Phil sends his share to Jack via online money transfer, the transaction goes through without a hitch. Then, Ted and Sam send their respective shares to Jack, but their transactions don't go through. The failed transaction cites some issues at the bank. That's when Jack comes to know about the many ways a bank transaction could fail. It could be due to technical issues at the bank. One of their accounts were hacked, daily transfer limits being exceeded, and sometimes additional charges.
So now these are like common issues which we actually face many times while carrying out banking transactions, like technical issues, accounts being hacked, and transfer limits. Of course, there are specific transfer limits for each of our accounts, and then higher processing
Like
fees.
transfer charges associated with transferring money. To solve these problems, the concept of cryptocurrency came into existence. Cryptocurrencies are a form of digital or virtual currency that run on a technology known as blockchain.
So again, as I already highlighted, cryptocurrency run on a technology that is known as blockchain.
Thanks to blockchain, cryptocurrencies are immune to counterfeiting, don't require a central authority, and are protected by strong and complex encryption.
So here we just got to know about what does cryptocurrency actually benefit us with. So it can, of course, overcome the fake notes problem, like different currencies which are actually faked up in many countries. So cryptocurrencies will immune to counterfeiting. Then they do not require any central authority, and they are protected by complex algorithms.
Encryption algorithms. And in a market of more than thousands of cryptocurrencies like Litecoin, Ethereum, Zcash, and so on, one reigns supreme: Bitcoin. Now, let's go back to our previous example and have Phil, Ted, and Sam send Jack 2 Bitcoins each as their contribution to the previous night's dinner. Let's assume Phil, Ted, and Sam have 3 Bitcoins in reserve, while Jack has 5. First, Phil sends 2 Bitcoins to Jack. A record is created in the form of a block. The transaction details between them is permanently inscribed in this block. This record also holds the number of Bitcoins each of the friends own. So, after Phil's transaction, Jack has 7 Bitcoins, while Phil has 1. Following this, Sam and Ted send 2 Bitcoins to Jack. A new block is created for each of these transactions. These blocks hold the transaction details as well as how many Bitcoins Sam, Ted, and Jack have in reserve. These blocks are linked to each other, as each of them takes reference from the previous one for the number of Bitcoins each friend owns. This chain of records, or blocks, is called a ledger, and this ledger is shared among all the friends, which acts as a public distributed.
So here again, as I mentioned, everyone will be notified of whatever transactions are taking place in that particular chain. So the network, whatever is happening, is all noted in the public distributed ledger. So it is distributed kind of system. There is no central authority, and everyone will have to have a look. Everyone can validate that particular transaction.
Ledger. This forms the basis of blockchain. So, what happens when Phil has only 1 Bitcoin left and he tries to send 2 more Bitcoins to Jack? The transaction will not go through. This is because all his friends have copies of the ledger, and it's clear that Phil has only 1 Bitcoin left. His friends will flag this transaction as invalid. A hacker will not be able to alter the data in the blockchain because each user has a copy of the ledger. The data within the blocks are encrypted by complex algorithms. All of this is made possible with the help of blockchain technology. Blockchain can be described as a collection of records linked with each other, strongly resistant to alteration, and protected using cryptography.
So in order to just sum it up, blockchain is a collection of records which is linked to each other, strongly resistant to alteration, and protected using cryptography. So blockchain supports cryptocurrency, and that actually helps in transacting different digital currencies across the globe.
Now, let's have a closer look at the Bitcoin transaction between Jack and Phil and find out how it works. Every user in the Bitcoin network has 2 keys, a public key and a private key. The public key is an address that everyone in the network knows of, like an email address of a user. The private key is a unique address that only the user has knowledge of, something like a password. First, Phil passes the number of Bitcoins he wants to send to Jack, along with his and Jack's unique wallet address through a hashing algorithm. All of this is part of the transaction details. These details are encrypted using encryption algorithms and using Phil's unique private key. This is done to digitally sign the transaction and to indicate that the transactions came from Phil. This output is now transmitted across the world using Jack's public key. With this, the message or transaction can be decrypted only by Jack's private key, which only Jack has knowledge of. Different cryptocurrencies use different hashing algorithms. While Bitcoin uses the SHA-256 algorithm, Ethereum, which is also a famous cryptocurrency, uses one known as Ethash. This transaction and several other similar ones are taking place all around the world. These transactions are validated and then added block by block. The people who validate these blocks are called miners. For a block to be validated and added to a blockchain, miners need to solve a complex mathematical problem. The miner who solves this first adds the block to the blockchain and is rewarded with 12.5 bitcoins. The process of solving the complex mathematical problem is called proof of work, and the process of adding a block to the blockchain is called mining.
So again, two major concepts that come into picture. Here, the ones who actually solve the complex mathematical problems, whatever work they do is like known as proof of work, and the process that they carry out in order to solve the different block problems is known as mining.
With this, Phil and Jack's wallets are updated, just like every person in the network who has completed a transaction.
That's how the transactions actually take place. I hope whatever concepts we discussed till now are actually clear, because the video actually walked us through all major concepts related to transactions and decentralization. Now let's connect all of this understanding about blockchain, cryptocurrency, and bitcoins with a real life example. Again, here a short video.
Walmart was facing problems in delivering quality products to its customers. They were facing a high return rate and large amounts of refunds due to their products' bad quality. They were unable to determine the point of failure in the supply chain, which started from farm to storage to transportation to processing all the way to the customer. Then, Walmart adopted blockchain technology. With blockchain, the quality of the goods at each step was permanently inscribed within a block. For example, when a customer flags a product as damaged, it can be correctly identified where the product got damaged in the entire supply chain, thus helping Walmart to identify the problem areas and fixing them. And this is just one of several ways blockchain is used in real-life applications.
So this was a real life case study which actually walked us through how Walmart is using blockchain technology to solve its critical problems related to business and transactions. Now, to just sum it up, like this topic can go on, and I know that cannot be accommodated in such a short span of time, but of course, I have tried to give you all major builders, all major concepts which are actually related to blockchain, cryptocurrency, and Bitcoin. And now, just to conclude it, to sum it up, financial literacy is the possession of set of skills and knowledge that allows individuals to make informed and effective decisions with all their financial resources. So it is very important for all of us to be financially literate, economically literate, to understand what exactly are transactions, what is ledger, what are different kinds of banking transactions, taxes, processing charges, all that stuff, because economy is something that we all are related to in some or the other manner, because we all rely on money. Secondly, cryptocurrency is an internet-based medium of exchange which uses cryptographical functions to conduct financial transactions. Do not worry with the heavy words like cryptocurrency, cryptographical. In short, it's digital currency which has some functions which are encrypted, which are secure. Cryptocurrencies leverage blockchain technology to gain decentralization, transparency, and immutability. Bitcoin is currently the king of cryptocurrencies. So we have already discussed this a lot many times now. And I hope I have given you something interesting today. In order to connect with me to discuss more on this particular topic or any other topic that's related to technology, we can definitely get on touch in LinkedIn. That's my LinkedIn profile link. I'll show you my LinkedIn profile in a minute. And that's about it for now. So I hope you all enjoyed the session. For this session, I had to actually refer blogs, Wikipedia, some open source articles, journals, and of course, the web sources. So that's about it. I would quickly walk you through my LinkedIn profile. So if you want to connect with me, you can just search this name, Shubham Dumbre, and I'm available on LinkedIn. We can discuss and probably work together at some other point. Thank you.
You're done with the session?
Yes, Sophia.
Okay, so it was a great session that everybody knows about Bitcoins, blockchains and all, but at the back what is happening and how it is working, nobody knows. And there are very few people who knows, but I can say that nobody knows. There are only few people who knows, and there are so many people who don't know. So it was a great session, and I hope people have learned about the bitcoins, how it works, what is the main what at the back, what happens when you do such things, or when you invest, when you put the money, how it converted, how it does, everything which you explained. I hope people have understood. Shubham, you want to add anything else at the end of the session?
Yes, just learn about finance, learn about economics. It is very important to survive today.
Yeah, that's the important thing.
Definitely.
So goodbye everyone for now. Meet you in New Year.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much.